Welcome, everybody, to episode 18 of the You Can't Comp This NBA podcast. I'm here with my host, Adam Amy. My name is Russell Gibson. How are you today, mate?
I'm great. I'm back.
You are back.
It's good. I missed being on the show last
I
week.
missed you too.
I heard. I was actually listening. And I've got some answers for you. Don't you worry.
Good.
Yeah. No, it was a bit weird not doing a show on Sunday night.
Could not agree with you more.
It was, but yeah, you flew the ship solo very well last week.
Thank you.
But I'm glad to be back. Very, very happy to be back in sunny Melbourne. We've had some beautiful weather.
It's been spectacular.
And I'm a lot more sober than I was last Sunday. That's all I'm going to say.
Alrighty, this week we're going to discuss Saddiq Bey, Jevon Carter. We've got a Zion Williamson fan question. We've got a Ben Simmons fan question.
Is that Ben Simmons and Zion have both written into the show, or
no? Just Ben Simmons wrote it.
Just Ben.
I found an opinion piece on NBA Hotspot Worldwide, so I just wanted to quickly touch on that, and then we have to talk about Gary Vee. There's been a lot of movement in this product and in the sealed and the unsealed stuff, so I think that's definitely worthwhile talking about. So I think let's kick off. The first thing we want to talk about this week was Saddiq Bey.
Saddiq Bey.
I think so.
Now, look, before we go into we'll call it a historical performance for him. It's probably the highest he's not going to. He might be a superstar. He might drop another 50 in his career, but not many players do it. And the last time we had this many 50-point games in the month of March, I believe it was 9 50-point games.
Yep.
And 6 of those performances were made by the one and only Wilt Chamberlain.
Interesting.
So that basically caps it at like there would have been 4 players. So we've had a lot more. We've had more players do it. We've had 8 performances, 2 of which were LeBron James. I think Kyrie was one. Kat was one. Oh, now I'm scraping the barrel. I can't even remember who else is that. Oh, KD. KD dropped one. And we've got Saddiq Bey. I think that's one.
It's been a big month, hasn't it?
There's been a lot of points dropped.
There's been some really good games, yeah.
But when the Kyrie one did not surprise me. LeBron doing it did not surprise me. KD, obviously one of the best scorers of all time. LeBron, I think today just went to second all time past the mailman.
Yeah, he did.
Like this is an elite class of basketball
scorers. Yep, definitely.
Like Saddiq Bey is in pretty elite company. So
very
very impressive effort to say the least.
Yeah, look, I think we need to be. We need to temper people's hobby expectation here. I don't think because he gets, a 50-point game, he's going to be doing the same numbers as these other boys. But I think we have to talk about this because I think hobby-wise, he wasn't really under the focus last year. A lot of that focus went to Killian Hayes.
That's true. And look, not to rag on Killian, but he at this stage of his career, things sort of haven't panned out as well. And Cade Cunningham coming onto the scene means they're really just throwing darts at a dartboard to see what sticks.
Yeah, look, I mean, if we're talking about Killian Hayes now, if you PC'd him, I wouldn't give up. I think it's too soon to give up. He's still a really young prospect.
You're right. Very, very young. And this is the thing. Players don't blossom overnight.
Not at that position.
Every
Point
player,
guard is the hardest position to play offensively and defensively. It's just
we'd call it a very mature position. How's that?
Yeah. I think back to Bey though. Thing that most interests me about him is that I liked it how he could play all over the court. He could play definitely. He could play 2 guard, maybe a little bit of small forward and a pinch of point guard. If needed. I think the other thing I liked about him too is he was really overshadowed last year by Killian Hayes, so there was a lot of value to be had there. You could get silvers for $5 or $10 for him. And to be honest, I was more picking them up if I saw them and I'd already bought something off someone else in this sale. If that makes sense? Like I was sort of just chucking in with my postage for free. So that's how I'd been sort of picking them up. I think that, why has he had this exponential growth in his game? Like obviously he's shooting it a little bit better, but his ball handling has improved dramatically.
Yeah.
He's getting really good at getting to the cup and he's kind of got a little bit of a herky-jerky move that he can make a little bit of space and he can hit some, some jump shots off the dribble too. So
Yeah. Look, I think Detroit, while this season, particularly probably the Saddiq Bey 50-point game is going to be the highlight of the year.
For Detroit?
Actually, and look, they've got Kate Cunningham as well. That's a bit of a highlight.
Yeah.
First couple of games you would have been shaky on it, but after that he's been pretty serviceable as a rookie.
Cunningham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
the last month he's been excellent.
Well, they've got a young core that's strong, young, high draft picks. Let's see what they can do. Look, they're really probably two, maybe a third option, but two very distinct ways to build a winning roster. Now there is I'm gonna buy the players that we need, and we're gonna put other pieces around the players we buy.
The Brooklyn Nets method.
I'm glad you used the Nets, not the Lakers, but we've done it wrong. And it's not because I don't like Westbrook. We're not going down this track because that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is, we'll call it the Warriors method that the Atlanta Hawks have used, and that's to build through the draft.
Sure.
You've got this superstar core of Curry, Clay, Draymond.
Yeah.
They're the old heads, right? The ones that came through together.
Yeah.
But they were all drafted. And that's, well, funnily enough, Westbrook, Harden, and Durant, when they were in OKC, they built the roster through the draft. That's where you get your talent. And look, Harden's probably the example there where, if you're looking at value in Saddiq Bey, I'm not saying he's James Harden. I'm saying you've got Durant and Westbrook, and then you've got Harden as the third string in that trio. And Harden wasn't on the radar to that extent. He was a role player and came off the bench in that OKC lineup.
Yeah, I think comparing Saddiq Bey to Harden is a tough one.
But Harden didn't blossom until he left OKC. That's what I mean about being a late bloomer. Like, he put in some solid performances.
He had a pretty decent finals performance, and then they traded him. I see what you're saying. Maybe like a 20% James Harden.
Yeah. Like, not the actual. We're not comping the player. We're looking at the situation, I guess. Yes, 150-point game does not make him a scoring machine. That's right. But I'm saying it's possible that down the track, if Detroit's plan of building doesn't work, Saddiq Bey might be a superstar. Just needs to be put on the right team.
Yeah, look, I think for me, I haven't even really thought about that. So maybe I need to give a bit of prediction where I think you'll end out.
Well, it's funny because I'm going to quote something a friend of mine said, and it's not in relation to Saddiq Bey, I can tell you that. Let's not write home about the 50-point game too much, because even a broken clock is right twice a day. That was my friend commenting when I said, did you check out Russell Westbrook's triple-double yesterday? Anyway. But yeah, like Saddiq Bey, I think there is value to be had, especially in those young and up-and-coming players. Like, you're right. If you can get an extra silver prism thrown in a deal, a little bit of cream on top, yeah.
Yeah, look, he's currently sitting at $15.50 USD. Mm-hmm. I personally think at this price, he is an absolute buy.
That's the silvers, right?
Yeah. Anything you can get at that price is just buy. Yep. I think
it's 15 USD.
Yeah.
So if you're getting so in between that $10 to $15 range Australian,
that is an absolute
that's just
bargain.
Value.
In the current market, that is an absolute bargain. Look, a month ago, we would probably be saying you're overpaying a little bit. So in the last 3 months, he's up 9.4%. In the last 1 month, he's up 158%.
No, so it's more the last 5 days, isn't it? No, he's been a bit of a yo-yo. I've seen, looking at these comps,
But that's dramatic. It really is, and I think, I think that 50-point game has absolutely put him on the map in terms of hobby-wise too.
It'll definitely do that.
Look, and I think at $15.50, that's totally fine. Like, even if he goes to $30, $40, even up to $50 USD. I can see that, and I think that's totally fine, because
it's one of those things, isn't it?
You don't score 50 points by accident, but I'd also say too, like, you can really tell he's put a lot more skill into his game. His body has definitely developed, and I think also too, maybe what we didn't talk about before was the whole like Cunningham, Killian Hayes, composition. I think there is a significant uptick from Killian Hayes to Cade Cunningham, and that has a flow-on effect over the roster. And I think someone like Saddiq Bey is definitely going to benefit from Cade's game. Like, Cade's game is very difficult to measure with numbers and quantify, but maybe this is like an indicator of how you do it. You know, how well your teammates playing. You know,
this is true.
Cade Cunningham cares about that. So I think, look, I'm super high on Bey right now. I think that at 15.50, look, tell me, guys, if there's a better buy out there at the moment. But for me, the reason why we're doing him number one is because I'm just buying this guy up at the moment.
That's where the value's at.
Yeah, 100%.
It's interesting, though, and that's why, especially with rookies, silvers, greens, you know, the like random variations of Prism base, like rookies, you may as well keep them just in case. You never know when a player's going to spike.
Yeah, I think we've all done it, sold rookies for $1 or $2, and then, 12 months later, they're $20-$30. Like, this is exactly why you keep your rookie cards, because you just never know when someone's going to pop.
Exactly.
Should we move on?
Yes.
So, Jevon Carter, he is a very low-end prospect, but I do think he's definitely worth mentioning. He's been essentially in NBA oblivion the last couple of years. He was drafted in 2018.
Yep.
He's a very serviceable guy. The reason I like players like Jevon Carter is I like back in the day Tyus Edney. I like back in the day Gary Payton. Guys that would just really get after people, make people's lives hard, but also not dirty players. Like, that was probably the other thing that, Marcus Smart, for example, I can't get behind that guy. For me, he's just like a little bit too dirty. Same as Grayson Allen. Like, anyway, a guy like Jevon Carter, I think he's, really good to watch play basketball. He's shooting the ball really well this season, and we've just established that he's been released by the Brooklyn Nets, and then he's been picked up by the Bucks. So,
bit of value there for the Bucks. They're looking good. The Bucks are. I spoke with a friend about this actually on my trip last week.
Yeah,
the Bucks are gearing up for a serious playoff run.
They've definitely been pacing themselves this year. And I think they're starting to play a little bit harder. You can tell that. Yeah,
they're getting playoff ready, and they've made some moves on that roster that I would be very scary if I was looking at the East.
Yeah. So currently his prices for a PSA 10 silver is $35 USD.
Whew.
I think the movement or the potential for movement for this guy is that if the Bucks make a deep playoff run and he's playing fourth quarter minutes, which he has been, and he was playing fourth quarter minutes for the Nets too. And that's what I was trying to talk to you a little bit off air about.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Nets coaching staff were just super high and super complimentary on this guy. Like, I think, I think he plays the right way. I think he can make open shots. He'll really complement, what that team does in terms of like 3-and-D. So
yeah. Look, that's the thing. Like, the Nets coaching staff, they would be singing his praises. As a role player like he is, you don't get given many opportunities to really step up and jump into the spotlight.
Yeah.
Before he departed from the Nets, his final game in a Brooklyn uniform, he dropped 14 points.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not surprised.
Like he had a couple of nice games, including 21 against the Celtics. And that was back in early February. So, like, he's made some he's played some interesting games.
Yeah.
To say the least. And definitely getting some opportunities there in Brooklyn now.
In Bucks.
Sorry, in Brooklyn, in the Bucks. In Milwaukee. Got plenty of opportunities in Brooklyn, and then they got rid of him for Goran Dragic. I'm still hungover.
You're not the problem here. It's okay, man. I know who's causing all the confusion here.
That's all right. I'm just trying to read spreadsheets now.
So, Bucks-wise, that's interesting, though, because if you think about it, they've lost DiVincenzo, who was playing, decent minutes for them.
Yes.
They traded him for Serge Ibaka. Then the other person they lost, this is in the off-season, but he was still, really heavy in their rotation, was PJ Tucker. So
it's interesting.
If he gets 20 minutes a game through the playoffs, I'm not going to be shocked.
Look, he's already averaging 15 minutes a game, and he's a good handful of games in. I think he's played 11 games for the Bucks.
Yeah.
And looking at the minutes, the most minutes he's played is 28.
That's decent, man.
And the least he's played is his first game where he played 9 minutes. That's the least. So he's averaging around that 15 minutes a game mark, and that's some serious court time for a role player. And he might actually. I think there's a solid chance that he is in that rotation, that core 8 or 9 that get used every game in the playoffs.
So if you're playing the flip game, I think the flip game is you buy now and then you sell in the playoffs. Like realistically, there's definitely movement there. Just a sort of small footnote to this, but also, highly relevant. The other play you can do too is buy on ComC. So you don't even need to bring the cards home. Yeah. Buy them into ComC, increase the price now when the playoffs roll around, hope that they sell. You don't need to handle them. ComC does it all for you. So
yeah.
ComC had been out of the furthest of my mind. I actually forgot I had cards sitting there. I got them sent back this week. That's kind of why that's in my mind at the moment.
Well, it's just random cards floating around. All right, what have we got next on the docket?
Should we move on to a couple of listener questions?
Let's do it.
All right,
David. Let's do it.
David Griffiths, thank you very much, mate, for your question. Would love to hear your thoughts on the whole Ben Simmons thing now the Brooklyn doctors have pretty much ruled him out for the season with his back. Should the 76ers pay his $20 million in fines? Now it's been proven that he wasn't faking the injury they claimed he was.
What? Just because doctors discovered that Ben Simmons doesn't have a spine does not mean that the Philadelphia 76ers just pay him out. Is that what they needed doctors to prove it? Just get an x-ray. You can tell he's got no spine. Could have told it before getting an x-ray. He hasn't talked to anyone since he's gone to Brooklyn. He doesn't want to play basketball. He's never going to play basketball again.
I feel like if you and I were cops and there's a good cop and a bad cop, I feel like you're a bad cop.
There's a good chance. There's a good chance. Look, and I'm no medical expert. I'm being very metaphorical with Ben's lack of a spine. He's got a weird hunch to him. You never know.
I think his hunch is because of all the jewelry that's around his neck, man. That stuff must weigh a ton.
If he sold that, he'd get his $20 million, wouldn't he?
That can't be good for your posture, wearing that much jewelry, honestly.
Yes. And slouching in a chair because you're not playing basketball while you're just sitting there on your phone and... anyway.
Come on, man.
That's enough Ben slander. I've got
David
plenty left in the tank for...
honest question. Give him an honest answer. Come on.
No, look. I think there's a lot of grey as far as the Ben Simmons quarrel, say issues. We'll call them issues.
Yep.
I don't think the Sixers should pay him back the money that they fined him because I don't believe he was totally honest with the team. If he's struggling with mental health issues, he should be communicating this with the team. The team should know what's going on, regardless. And if the fact is, if he went silent to the point where they had to fine him for not playing, because he's basically gone down the mental health route for the better part of 6 months, and now it's his back. If it was his back all along, why wouldn't he have said so? Because it wouldn't allow the trade, in which case Philadelphia would have known, just Brooklyn wouldn't have. Like there's a lot more to unpack here as far as what is Ben doing? What is his end game? And look, I don't know. I'm going to put my conspiracy hat on and say I don't think he wants to play basketball anymore, and he just wants to capitalize as much as he can before he stops, before he officially steps away.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Sad but true. And look, yeah, I don't know. The Nets seem to be doing all right without him, which is good. But the acquisition of Goran Dragic is clear sign that they needed a point guard to be there. Kyrie's playing some games. Look, I think it's an interesting predicament. But at the moment, like initially it was like, oh wow, Harden went off in his first game. He's gone missing since, but that's not the point. You know how they're like, oh, this could be good for both franchises. Philly's now happy because they've got an active player. Ben's finally going to come out of his slump and play in Brooklyn. Both teams won the trade. Like, we're now at a point where we're saying, did both teams lose the trade?
I think it's a little bit early to say that for Philly because I think integrating a massive cog.
A piece like Harden. Fair enough.
And also to that coach, like, I don't think anyone has given enough credence to this, even like professional commentators, of how rigid Doc Rivers is. Like, he's not these type of like cerebral coaches who's making adjustments on the fly to his rotation. That's not how that guy works.
Very true.
He sets his rotation in bed, a week before the game, and then that's it. And he's got his little pen and paper in his pocket, and then the time, numbers come around and he moves his subs in and out. Like, that's how Doc works. He's not like looking at advanced plus minus numbers and changing numbers on rotations and matchups. Like, let's keep this real, fair. Right?
But what I'm saying at the moment, like, what were the Nets fans expecting out of Ben? Was there an expectation that he got traded away and all of a sudden he felt better and was going to play again?
So, being pragmatic, they expected someone to handle the ball for them, to defend and rebound, and that's what that team needed desperately.
But when? Genuine question is when? Do you think Philly knew about the back problem?
No, I don't think so. I actually think this is a new injury because we talked about this. I do, because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that Simmons had been organizing his own runs in Philadelphia, and he'd been doing it at great time consumption because he couldn't do them at the Philadelphia center. He had to go outside of the Philadelphia.
I'm more of the point that if I've got an injured back and I want out of Philly, if anyone knows about it, I'm not getting traded.
But they would have done physicals, right?
Philly wanted him gone as well.
Yeah, but if they would, there's no way.
Well, this goes back to we'll answer David's question. Yes, they pay because it's hush money. They pay the $20 million. He pays the $20 million back in fines because otherwise he comes out and says they knew I was injured and they traded me to Brooklyn anyway. I don't know. I
don't think so. I don't think that's right, man. Because they have to have physicals.
How did he put his back out in Philly, in Brooklyn of all places?
You can put your back out anytime, any place. I don't think this is a conspiracy that he could be ramping up his activities and then have some back irritation. I don't think that's the thing. So my answer to this is that no, the Sixers won't pay back his fines, and the only reason why they would is if it goes to arbitration and they're made to pay it back.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that was the next thing. Ben's taking it legal, isn't he?
Well, $20 million, of course you would, right? Even if you paid your lawyer $5 million, that's still $15 million up for grabs, right?
Yeah, and it is going to end up. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, though, my understanding is that the Nets can basically pay the money. So I think in my mind,
it's okay. We've got this.
Yeah, the real question is who's going to pay him his salary? Is it going to be the 76ers or is it going to be the Brooklyn Nets? And that's not an unheard of thing where players have held out and been traded and then still got their money. So my understanding is that happened in the past at some point.
Yep.
So my sort of take on this current situation is this is a regular season injury. And what I mean by that is if this was the playoffs or it's the finals, he's playing. Do you know what I mean?
So I guess that answers. So my follow-up to that is, do you think Ben wants to play basketball?
Yeah, I do, man.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I think
it seems like one thing after another.
Look, I'll definitely agree that he is an employee who seems to be a little bit more high maintenance than other employees. I don't think
such a diplomatic way of saying things.
No, I mean, if you've worked in a management position, you know what I'm talking about here, right? You have some people that are really high performing and you kind of forget to even check in on them because they never cause you issues. And then you always have people who'll come and knock it on your door and complaining. You know what I mean? I kind of get he's the type of person that
he's
doing
a diva,
the complaining, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And, whether he's doing that by text message or he's, manager or just not turning up and all that type of stuff, you know what I mean? He's that type of dude.
Ben just called in sick again. Oh, boy. Yeah.
So, I think he wants to play basketball, but I think realistically here, he's been sitting around and probably not doing – I mean, it's hard to, simulate NBA games. I think he tried his best and then he's ramped up his activities and now he's got a bad back. So I think the epidural part is kind of interesting to me because are they doing that to give him pain relief or are they doing that to increase his mobility? Because when they've given him the epidural, then they can run him through a bit more stretching and a bit more kind of hydro and stuff like that. So, a part of me is kind of well, actually, I'm not that worried about it. But then the cynical part of me is actually saying, this is really bad. He's a young man who relies on his athleticism, and his speed and his quickness. Because if you think about it, when he's most effective is when he's getting the ball off the backboard and he's going end to end, and that's what the Nets need. They need easy baskets. So, I think, and realistically, what I think is, and this is what I found off Hoops Hype, the Nets play the Cleveland Cavaliers and Indiana Pacers in their 2 final regular season games, April 8 and 10, respectively, prior to the start of their playing tournament, and that's when Simmons is expected to play. So, and in my mind, that's logical. That makes sense.
So they reckon he might play those last couple of games.
That's what Hoops Hype is saying, and I'm all on board with this theory.
I'd like to see him play. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm very critical of him, but I'm becoming very skeptical of his drive, of his actual desire to play the game.
Yeah, and I suppose to answer David's question, explicitly, I don't think the Philadelphia 76ers should pay back the money, because the way he handled that and his manager handled that, that's not the way to do business. And
correct.
They're
holding him accountable. The fines are hit. And that's the club holding him accountable.
Yeah. Whether he thinks he was thrown under the bus or he was not treated well, blah, 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 blah. That's irrelevant. He didn't fulfill his professional duties. He doesn't get paid. Literally, it's as simple as that.
Contractual obligation. Yeah.
In terms of the part about the injury faking, I mean, that's the type of thing that, in my mind, you'll never really know the truth to this. How mentally unwell was he? How physically unwell was he? I have no idea. But the fact that at the exact same time that he was also having a contract dispute, that looks really poor.
Now, just to throw another spanner in the works, our friend Ben, is he with Clutch Sports?
He's in the LeBron camp, I'm pretty sure.
He's in the LeBron camp, right? So he's got a good brains trust with him.
Yeah.
What happens if he takes this legal with Philly to get the payout from Philly, and Brooklyn say they're going to pay it?
That's a non-issue.
Does he double dip? Is there any way to double dip?
You can't double dip.
Oh, hey, I'm sure he can try.
No, you can't, man. You only get money. So I think in that case, then Brooklyn's off the hook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think Brooklyn's going to. Sorry, Philly's going to push back. You're right. I also, if anyone hasn't read between the lines or haven't been clear about it, I don't think he should be paid.
Yeah, so Simmons is represented by Rich Paul.
Yeah, I thought so. But I mean, he'll get his money some way. But I just don't agree. I don't think he deserves it. I think the way you hit the nail on the head, the way he handled it was extremely poor. There's a right way to go about things and there's a wrong way to go about things.
Yeah.
And he put some divas to shame with the way he behaved. It was pretty. It's just, no. It was it was something special. Not the way I would definitely handle the situation. And look, all props to Philadelphia for holding him accountable and fining him. Hope that once he's back, feels better and his head's in the right spot, that he gets out in the court and plays some basketball, because that's all people want from him. That's all the Nets want from him.
Yeah,
just play some basketball. And you've got someone there as a support. You've got Patty Mills with you. Make the most of it, mate.
Yep. Yeah, I think Patty
can tell him all about what it's like to play for the Australian team.
Influence on that, man.
Anyway,
I think that's a really good situation. And to be honest, I think KD's a good influence.
No. KD's a drama queen. Let's be real.
I think KD is a very sensible young man.
As Kyrie.
I don't know. Look,
he's got about 37 Twitter accounts that'll tell you otherwise, but I think he's just as crazy as Kyrie.
Perfect. No one's perfect, man. KD's a good dude. I think he's
a good dude. I'm still on the side of batshit crazy. Great basketballer. I still think he's batshit crazy.
I don't know. I think he
wanted Kyrie because they're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, they're good friends, man.
KD will not tell you that he does believe that the Earth is flat. No, I don't have any evidence to back that up. I just think KD's a bit of a drama queen and lost the plot. Not everybody has all their marbles. It's okay. He's still playing amazing basketball at the moment, and the Nets are are poised to strike.
Yeah,
they are in if they win their playing games.
Opinions needed. This is from NBA Worldwide.
I've got opinions. Don't you worry.
What is Tim Duncan's collectability? I picked up a somewhat rare card of Duncan, and I'm not sure if it's worth holding onto or moving for a player I actually PC like Iverson. The card wasn't very cheap, and I don't have many others of him, so I'm not sure if I want to keep it. Only reason I got it is because I threw out a bid on eBay and somehow ended up winning. And that does happen from time to time, actually. Duncan has all the awards and championships, but doesn't seem to get much love in the hobby. Is San Antonio too small of a market? What do you think, Ad?
I think he is one of those players that suffered from small market collectability. Is that a thing? I know I talk about it a lot, that he's just not the poster boy for anything.
He wasn't a poster boy ever, even when he's winning MVPs and championships.
But his nickname says it all.
Yeah.
The big fundamental.
Yeah.
He's not the most exciting player on the court. He's one of the best that ever played the game, but he's not exciting and entertaining because he's a winner. He's a system winner. He won because of a system. Oh, and his talent, but like he won within a system.
He was insanely competent at basketball.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. But I don't know. Like the case could be made that he's one of the greatest fours of all time.
So would you hold this card or would you flip it?
As much as I would say he's not collectible, if it's a very rare card, it will get the value it deserves. Because there are some, I don't know if you've got comps, we don't know exactly what the card is.
Yeah, that doesn't matter, right? It's a really good question.
But I don't think it's going to lose value, is what I'm saying. Is Tim Duncan? There are Tim Duncan collectors out there, and there's a lot of basketball fans that know exactly who Tim Duncan is.
Yeah.
It doesn't. The man's like, do you know what I mean? Like he's one of the greatest basketball. He's named in the 75 best players of all time.
Yeah.
So he's not going anywhere.
He's in my top 10, to be honest.
He gets, without a doubt. There's probably debate somewhere, but he's in my top 20. I don't even know who the 10 would be, but
that's fine. Oh yeah, I got no argument. Look, I'm very high on Tim Duncan, so
I think he's fantastic. And look, if you got it for a good price, my thought is simple. If you think you can get better value by flipping it, flip it. But if you think it's something that you want something of Duncan's, probably a good card to keep. It's not going to go down in value.
Yeah.
You should give yourself a pat on the back. It's you've picked up a bargain on eBay.
Yeah.
Just hope it's genuine.
So my experience with Tim Duncan is that I really enjoyed watching him play basketball when I was younger. So for me, I think Tim Duncan is someone that you should be buying.
Yep.
If you're asking me, do I buy, hold, or sell Tim Duncan? To me, he's a buy. So I suppose, Tim Duncan story is, remember 12 months ago when it was very trendy for people to buy 80s and 90s stuff because like ultra modern was too expensive. And then we had that sort of huge spike. It wasn't a huge spike, but there was that spike in sort of 80s and 90s stuff. I was actually buying Tim Duncan at that point. So where I'm sitting right now is I actually got really badly burnt because I was buying on the spike and now obviously it's come down a lot. And in some instances, some of it's come down like 50%. So, I mean, despite all of that, I was buying that Duncan stuff, to be honest, not to flip. I was buying it because I wanted some Duncan in my PC, and it seemed to me to be, even at the time when it was spiking, there seemed to be really good value in comparison to like what ultra modern is selling for.
Yeah.
And now that the prices have adjusted or, come down 50%, I stand by that opinion doubly, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you look at Tim Duncan rookie cards and then say you compare that to Karl Anthony Towns rookie cards, like Cat is probably selling for double the price, but Tim Duncan has got 4 times the resume. I think
is it recency bias though?
It's absolutely recency bias, and I think it's also to the ultra modern market has completely changed the way cards are traded.
Oh, that's a point. Yeah.
And I would probably also say too, the thing about Tim Duncan is, and I'll stand by this, I think that if you look at the whole hobby, you went through, if you lined up every single person in a line, I think Tim Duncan is the most undervalued person that's out there. So I think all of that goes into like that answer there. And it's a very long answer to his question, but essentially, look, if I was this guy and I could afford it, I would keep that card because I want to have a Tim Duncan card in my collection. And actually, this is a future episode I want to do it with you. I want to do an episode with you that said, like, what is the 10 NBA players that you have to have in your collection?
Oh, I like that. Well,
yeah. So
I think that's a question we'll put out to the listeners as well.
Yeah, and we could do it as a listener question too, because I was telling you when I went to
we can do it like it. Oh no, we'll do it as a countdown. I was going to say we can do it as a whole episode, or we can break it up into.
Maybe we do it for an episode, like
a rundown.
But what I was going to say is, like, remember when we went to the hobby hangout? I told you I got that Robinson auto.
That's right. Yes,
that was kind of like part of my chase for that. Like, there's just some players that I really want to get, like, just one really nice card of theirs, and I'd put David Robinson into that. I would put, say, Allen Iverson into that. Larry Bird. I really want to get like just a really nice.
It's a nice Larry
Bird, a really nice Magic Johnson. So, in my mind, Tim Duncan is like in that same sentence as Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. So,
yeah,
I think if you're on a bit of a budget and you want to get an all-timer, you want to get something that's going to hold value over the years, I think Duncan is a really, really great buy.
Yeah.
So, that's my answer there.
And yeah, look, as I said, if you got it at a steal and you don't need to flip it, don't. We know the trajectory of basketball cards.
Yeah.
Especially Hall of Fame greats like Tim Duncan.
Yeah. And particularly now we've just gone through like a massive spike and a come down. Like, I think you're buying now and it's going to trickle back up again. I don't think there's going to be another big, 50% decline.
Don't sell on the dip. You buy on the dip. You don't sell on the
dip. Gary Vee. We have to talk about this.
Speaking of buying on the dip.
Yeah. Well, so Gary Vee, the
king of NFTs.
The sealed product sold for $2.2 USD.
What?
In the silent auction on the Fanatics website.
Oh, that's right. Yep. No,
so we're 1 week clear of that.
Mm-hmm.
eBay sold prices are coming in. I found one for 9,000 sold and one for 12,000. So
50 bids on the $12,000 one.
People are basically 6x'd their money in a week, which is, for these people, congratulations. You've absolutely just like destroyed it. You can get my advice on selling Jevon Carter cards and you can make $35, or you can go and buy Gary Vee and you can make 10 grand in a week. I mean, I know whose advice I would take.
I'm listening to you. I'm looking at these cards and what is this?
So raw base cards have been selling for $1,580, $930, $920, $735, $755, and $910 USD. So obviously, it's still pretty early in the piece. That's all I could find on that. But is this a pump and dump? Is this similar to like what Top Shot was, where it came out of the gates and it was just going absolutely bananas?
Have you seen any of these cards? What's on the...
So I said last week...
What is this?
I said this last week and I'm standing by it. It literally looks like crap that my 3-year-old's drawn, but on a really expensive piece of cardboard. I don't understand this. So if you can explain it to me, I would really appreciate it.
I'm just as curious. I'm like...
Okay, that's fine. Because I wanted to ask you about this. Because I know you're more into like the
quirky side of things.
The pop culture stuff, whereas I'm pretty much like just basketball and, barely do that well. So
what the bloody hell is all this stuff?
Okay, well, let's just leave it at that then. That's probably all we need to talk about.
I want a hot shit Hornet SHT. Is the $1,475. Numbered 6 of 8.
I think at this point you're only buying this if you really, really...
You've got more dollars than cents. That's all I'm going to say.
No, I was going to say, if you really love this stuff, I would say buy it. Like, go nuts. But at the same time, I think if you're buying this to flip it now in the aftermarket, I think that is...
You're spending 12 grand on US.
That's perilous. To me, that's absolutely perilous, and I'm not touching that.
You're going to spend 10 grand to go, I'm going to flip it. No.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, honestly. That's just... For me, that's...
I'm going to get some children to draw on some cardboard for me, and I'm going to try and sell some cards.
I'll get my kid to do one for you, mate. I'll express post it out to you.
Yeah, no, we need a numbered. We need multiples of the same.
She loves drawing. This will keep her entertained all day. This will be great.
Like a whole afternoon's work.
Wow. Interesting thing did pop up when I was doing this search. So a Gary Vee auto from Tops X sold for $535 USD.
535, 3 bids.
That to me that's epic, and it Tops really does, for me, go on from what the conversation was, what the Fanatics guy were talking about. That was basically saying that there's no real marketplace for celebrity cards, for politicians' cards, for all that sort of extra stuff like movie cards. So is there this actually huge market out there for all this type of stuff, and they're going to, fill that void? The guys from Sports Cards and Nonsense were talking about this, saying how that, is this good for basketball? Is this not good for basketball cards? Well, surely this has to bring in some other people into the hobby. And I think I was really skeptical about how Fanatics was going to grow the hobby, but maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. So people who are buying these cards will then, trickle over into other high-end sort of equivalent products.
Well, all right. So I've been, with regards to the pop culture side of things, right?
Talk to me.
You can go to a local market and buy a photo with a fake autograph or a scan that's signed, a scan of a signed thing. Do you know what I mean? To get autograph memorabilia.
Are you talking about cards, or are you talking about...
I'm talking about actual autograph memorabilia. So this is layered. You can go and buy a knockoff photo that's been signed by a celebrity, right?
Is it the actual celebrity, or is it a fake signature?
I think it's a fake. I'm gonna assume it's a fake signature because of the price.
Sure. Yeah.
But in this day and age, where sports cards are becoming more, they're on the radar, more common.
Yeah, and very readily accessible too these days with the internet. Like let's be honest about that. Yeah.
And there's a lot more questions over how authentic things are.
Yeah.
What better way to guarantee the authenticity than trading cards? It's a genuine autograph.
Yeah.
So I think it's a step in the right direction as far as I see it.
I agree with that 100% actually, because that's why I don't buy memorabilia, because I'm very skeptical of the authenticity of it. Whereas cards, I mean, let's not live in a naive world. You can get scammed in the card business, but
you can. There are scammers out there in the card business, and there's also, with memorabilia, we'll go to the jerseys and patches.
Yeah,
there's a big difference between
people have swapped patches out of cards, and how on earth they do that and stick them back together without the card being damaged is beyond me.
Well, there's also Panini's gone to the fact that they're not always game worn jerseys.
No, that's different again.
That's on the back. I was going to say that's different, but
that's them declaring whether it's been game worn or not. Do you know what I'm saying? That's completely different again.
But that's also why I would put my faith in a trading card company.
Yeah.
Because they will disclose the authenticity of the product.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, did we talk about was it the George Costanza one?
And the baseball card?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're like, cool. But was that part? Did he wear that on set?
I don't know. I don't think we followed that up.
No, but it's one of those. I just think a trading card company would be, because of licensing.
Yeah.
Would be a better, I suppose, watchdog on these things. Yeah. On the authenticity of a product.
Yeah, sure.
So, but yeah, definitely an interesting one. But Gary Vee stuff, wow. I'm more interested that Gary Vee's autograph sold for like $500. And the random dog's breakfast drawing sell for like 10 grand.
I personally think the autograph at $500 US has got a lot more long-term value than this other stuff. I think this is literally the definition of a pump and dump.
Oh yeah, and it's been pumped. It's been pumped by Gary Vee on
Well,
all
the
of his social
irony,
media.
yeah, but the irony about this though is actually he didn't do any of the dumping because the price wasn't set by Fanatics or by Gary Vee. It was actually set by the consumers.
But that's the thing. Like the pumping is there's a combination of FOMO and this feeling of desperation of I need to get this because of the way he hypes his. He's such a good hype guy.
Is he?
It's just I need to get this. I need. The first time I heard about NFTs was Gary Vee.
Yeah.
And the first thing that came to mind was I need to understand what this is.
Yeah.
It was this drive. I'm like, I need to understand it.
Yeah.
This guy sold me on something and I have no idea what it's about.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
It's that hook and you want to know more. So look, I definitely think it's interesting. But in 10 years' time, I agree with you. I think, well, I don't know if you're thinking on the same lines that I am, but Gary Vee's autograph on a card is going to be worth more than that stuff that they've paid 10 grand for.
Yeah, I don't get this stuff at all.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah. I think some of it's like, not quite there and I don't understand why I would want to do it. Anyway.
Maybe someone can tell us at home if like, what are we missing here? Because
DM us, let us know.
Maybe we're missing the point. Maybe the
enlighten. Maybe I don't know.
But maybe the people who collect this are like, why are you idiots collecting basketball cards?
Yeah, fair point.
Maybe it's exactly the same thing, but just like a different dude behind the microphone, you know?
Yeah.
Because realistically, why does anyone collect anything?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations to the person who sold their case for $12,000. I'm actually proud of you. Honestly,
that's an effort.
That is literally the world's greatest flip I've ever seen. So congrats.
That's an insane flip.
Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Now, I believe you had a question for me.
Oh, yeah.
Last week on the show.
Let's have this as our closing thought. So would you buy Zion at 2K for a PSA 10 silver, or would you buy Luka at 2.6K PSA 10 silver?
2K.
Let's just say
you
had a spare 4,000 AUD sitting in your bank account.
Just sitting
and
around.
You could do whatever you wanted with it.
And I couldn't find a Ja Morant rookie.
No.
All right.
But you could find a Luka and a Zion at this price.
So I go into my local card store.
Yeah, you went down to EJ Cards.
Yep, and I just walked up and I went, "Hey, look, I need it. I need another rookie. I want a nice.
I've got a spot in my cabinet for a nice rookie card.
Yep, I want a PSA 10. I want something sweet, something that's really I'm going to invest." But this is long term for me.
Sorry, I'm just doing this for the people who are actually watching this at home still. Don't let me distract you, mate. This is
I'm salivating.
This is not for you, Adam. This is for the people at home.
Okay. So and then I get shown that. Well, I get shown a Luka PSA 10
and silver. Yeah, not a 9 red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. But still. And then I get shown a Zion.
Yeah, with a different price tag. I feel like you're building this up a lot. You're really building this up. Yeah. You're taking the Zion?
I'm taking the Zion.
Okay, I'm taking the Luka at that price every day of the week. And interesting, do you know I saw today a 9.5 BGS sold for $1,000 US.
Wow.
That to me is like
that's the value. That's the value.
That's really the value, right? I mean, for two things, you keep it and the BGS sits there, or you
I'm sorry, but the difference between the 9.5 BGS and the PSA 10, yeah, there's a big difference, but it's not that big.
Yeah, but what about the crossover potential? Like that could be PSA 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it had subgrades on there too. So look, maybe this is what we need to look into a little bit more. So I'm going to do this right now. Is actually Luka's sliding for some crazy reason?
Because he plays in Dallas and they're
but
trash.
They've been playing really well, and he's been playing really well. So you know what I mean? Like, what's the?
Yeah, where does he go? Yeah, what's the reason for the slide? Look, there's some insane Luka hype. The question is, has he overspiked?
I mean, a lot of people came into the hobby, and a lot of people bought Luka. So yeah, his current price is still 2,600. So in the last 3 months, he's down 18%. Luka's got 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, he's down 9%.
Ah.
The last month, he's down 11. So that's pretty much what we spoke about last week. That hasn't really changed at all.
Not a lot. But, yeah, I know. Look, I'm taking a punt with Zion. There's a chance that I flip it for 1,500 when I find out Zion's not playing again, and then end up trying to buy a Luka for 3 afterwards. But I don't know. I feel like the ceiling on Zion is still there because the dips happened. I'm still at this point. Zion at 2K is buying on the dip, because if Zion is going to be the Zion we all think thought he was going to be, and he plays a couple of games for New Orleans, and he comes back and he's healthy, far out.
Can I be devil's advocate there, though?
Go for it.
2,000 and 2,600 is like, in the scheme of things, not that much.
True.
But
I think the ceiling on Zion is bigger than Luka.
Do you really? But I was going to say the opposite, right? I think in terms of prospects, like Zion is 3 steps behind where Luka is.
But he could launch on and be bigger than Luka.
I don't think so. I think Luka is, in terms of like hobby-wise and even on the court-wise, I think is a better player. And also, too, the other thing, and I think this is a really important thing, the injury histories of these two guys is like, you couldn't be more polar opposite. Like, Luka has already got an old man game.
Yeah.
And his body has already proven to be quite robust. And he kind of came into the league with like a man's body already. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't like a skinny dude that needed to put on weight and sort of transform his body. Whereas I think it's pretty well established that probably Zion does need to change his body type to some degree to be successful. Fair. So that's probably what goes through my head. And I just looked up the BGS 9.5. So in the last 3 months, he's down 31.53%. So let's call it 32%.
Yeah.
In the last month, he's down 27%. The last 2 weeks, he's down 26%. It last sold for 1,010. I think that is like enticing.
I have a thing with this, and it's not Luka as much, but I feel like Luka's ceiling, we'll call it, is going to get lower and lower every year. Dallas doesn't do well in the playoffs.
Yeah, okay, but all right.
When did Giannis's value go through the roof?
Probably like 18 months before he won a championship.
When he won his MVP. Something Luka also hasn't done.
Was that 18 months before he won his championship?
I think so,
MVP?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was just
it was the season before.
I didn't put those two things together. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably an MVP. His first MVP, I think.
Yeah. See, I sort of put in my head Giannis rookie stuff out of touch. Like, I couldn't sell off a bunch of cards to buy that. Whereas at a KUSD, I could actually cobble something together for that, I think, reasonably, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm super enticed by this, actually, like, because
it's interesting.
What I'm thinking right now is this is like a 25-year purchase for me. So I'm not thinking to buy this now and flip it in 12 months. I'm thinking like,
you're buying it, and once it gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, you're selling it.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe I've just made the right purchase and, it's like a family heirloom. Like, I think
I like that.
I feel very comfortable with that.
Yeah. But it's definitely like, look, if Zion is a riskier prospect here, I think we all know that Luka is going to have a great career, and Zion is still an unknown quantity. I just think the ceiling on that is higher for Zion.
Okay.
Because Luka is going to be a one-team guy. From early reports and early signs, Luka is going to be in Dallas forever.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Early stages, Zion hasn't done a whole lot, and he's already unhappy. So does he end up, heaven forbid, in Los Angeles? You know what I mean? Like, does he end up in purple and gold after LeBron retires?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
And become the next big thing? Or does he get traded to the Magic and just end up playing basketball in Turkey in a few years' time?
No, man. I think so. My conspiracy theory on that is the Knicks, and we've already raised that.
But it's like there's a lot of unknowns about A, where he's going to land, and B, what his career looks like.
Yeah,
Luka, where we're starting to piece together now.
Yeah, okay.
Where he's going to end up team-wise, and we can see what trajectory he's on career-wise.
Actually,
which is not a bad career.
Even though I disagree with you, in some ways I agree with you, and I think in some ways that's why I think Luka is more of a safe bet because of what you just said. You know what I mean? You almost said it yourself.
He's established.
Yeah, he's almost like a safer bet because you kind of know what you're getting, right? You know he's going to be in Dallas. Yeah. You know his gameplay. You know his body, blah, blah, blah. Whereas Zion, you're banking on him having a change of scenery and everything coming together, and then he's like the next poster boy of the whole league. I think that's what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, rightio. Okay, yeah, cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Well, no, I just can't. I went to the Adelaide races. I'm still in gambling mode. I'm buying Zion. I lost too much money on the horses, and now I'm going to gamble with a Zion. No.
Final thoughts for this week, mate?
The final thought, speaking of gambling, have you seen the Raz that's up, the Australian card that's almost half full?
No, I haven't. Which one?
The 500 spotter. I'm going to tag you in. There is a Michael Jordan BGS 9.5 being razzed at the moment.
Oh, is that the one the guy won it himself
Tom
in a Raz?
Foggo.
Now he's razzing himself. I think Possibly. I did see that, actually.
It's 500 spots at 150 a spot. So my question in return, do you buy a spot in a 500 spot raffle
Not a 500
for
spot
a Jordan
No.
9.5 BGS?
I like Razzes that are 10 spots.
Isn't this $1 million card according to Josh Luber?
Is that what Luber said?
No. Is it how much? What was the grade of the Jordan rookie that was sold?
No, we're talking about a different card now, right? It's not a rookie card that's being razzed, is it?
I'm tagging you in. It's a Jordan rookie.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. We are talking about two different cards.
Hang on. I'm sure it's a Jordan rookie.
I thought it was a Scoring Kings.
No. This is definitely a Jordan rookie.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Sean Craig. What are we up to? No. I have a number in mind. I want to buy 2 spots.
Okay.
I've got permission. I've got permission from the better half to buy 2 spots in this.
Do you really?
Yeah. Comments. Russell. I've just tagged you in it.
All right. No, man, I'm out.
1986-87 Fleer, number 57, Michael Jordan, 9.5 gem mint. It's a once in a lifetime Raz. But at $150 a spot, it's a lot. He's all like the guy that's running it said that it's Tom Foggo's card. Yeah, he's actually extending payment terms for people to like a month to pay for their spots.
Unbelievable.
That's $75,000.
No, I think I'll put that 150 or 300 towards the Luka 9.5. I got my heart set on that, actually.
I'm going to put my 300 there and I'm going to win the damn thing. If I win it, this is being clipped and circulated. But yes, I just thought that was very, I don't normally talk about razzes and stuff, but wow.
Yeah. No, why not?
Wow.
Instagram, you can't comp this. Twitter, at you can't comp this. Gmail, you can't comp this at gmail.com. Facebook, you can't comp this podcast. And now on YouTube too. What's the name of our channel on that?
There are so many symbols, numbers, and letters that I couldn't tell you the YouTube address.
If you search for You Can't Comp This podcast, will we come up?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. But what we'll do is we'll put it in the Facebook group. Put it in the Facebook group.
Yeah, do that, man.
To like and subscribe. We'll bit of a campaign to get people onto the YouTubes.
We just spoke about how good Gary Vee is at like pumping stuff up. We haven't even told people what we're doing with YouTube, have we? So we're broadcasting on YouTube, aren't we?
We're broadcasting on Twitch, on my channel on Twitch.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure out how to do this on YouTube as well, live anyway, so that way I don't have to upload the Twitch video.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing this. So you normally get the episode Monday night on YouTube, so it's a bit of a delay. But live on Twitch. So anyone
you're doing a good job, mate. I appreciate it.
So anyone that jumps onto my my Twitch, which is it's 8EZ7281Z or Z, wrong country. Anyway.
I think we better put this into, say, like the Twitter description or something like that. And then, because have we got any people on your Twitch feed asking questions or anything?
No, I had a friend of mine, Jake, jump on and redeem a token asking me to have a drink of water, and that was about it.
Oh, good old Jake.
Got in and made sure he got me to hydrate. But yeah, no, it's we do it live every week that I'm here. We didn't get to do it live on Twitch last week, but yeah, and then I upload it all onto YouTube. So we'll get out there, and then eventually I'm gonna hone my fully sick editing skills, and that's every ounce of sarcasm I could muster, to make some TikToks, and we'll just some of my bold predictions and insults to NBA players will be put into TikToks.
Thank you so much, mate, for your time.
Pleasure as always.
Great to see you, buddy.
Good to be back. I'm glad I could be of assistance with that Zion question.
Yeah, that was a good one. It's always better when you're around, mate. For sure.
I'm so sorry to Ben Simmons. If I ever meet Ben Simmons, I'm gonna blush.
Ben Simmons is going to get that 10-kilogram chain from his neck and beat you to death with it. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. He's got a bad back. He won't be able to chase me. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure he'll chase you down. Like,
oh no.
I think these guys are professional athletes for a reason, you know?
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Proof Ben Simmons has a spine. He's chasing me down the street, beating me with a chain. Oh God.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
See you next time.